Welcome back, viewers. Now, England's reign as the 50-over World Cup champion just sunk into serious jeopardy as resolute 50s by Pathum, Nissanka and Sadeera Samarawickrama, along with a set of on-the-money bowlers, spurred tenacious Sri Lanka to an 8-wicket victory in Bengaluru. Let's take a look at some of the performances on the backdrop while I tell you about what happened in the game. Now, England, opting to bat first, suffered a baffling batting implosion and were bundled out for a paltry 156, courtesy the 5 wickets shared among themselves by the comeback man Angelo Matthews, who bagged 2 for 14, and impressive Lahiru Kumara, who bagged 3 for 35. And despite losing a couple of early wickets, Sri Lanka confidently finished their chase as Nissanka, who scored 77 of 83 balls, and Samarawickrama with 65 of 54 deliveries, led the process with an unbroken 137-run stand for the third wicket with just 2 points from 5 matches. England retain a more theatrical chance to make it to the semi-finals, while the Islanders, who now have 4 points, can eye for a few stronger outings in the remaining 4 games. Well, it was a complete collapse of the England batting side, because they might have hoped for a miracle when they dismissed opener Kusal Perera and Lankan captain Kusal Mendis through left-arm pacer David Willey to reduce their opponents to just 23 for 2. But Nissanka and Samarawickrama, 2 of Sri Lanka's best ODI batters this year, combined to produce a solid partnership to ease Sri Lanka's nerves. Flashes of their natural batsmanship, though, were there. Samarawickrama delectably drove David Willey through the covers, while Nissanka waltzed down the track and smoked a leg spinner Adil Rashid over long on for a huge 6. Now, Nissanka at this point brought up his 50, his 4th in the tournament, with a flowing cover drive of pacer Mark Wood, and Samarawickrama reached his 2nd half-century of this edition with a wristy single to mid-wicket of Chris Wokes. Now, over the last 5 games, Sri Lanka has the upper hand, because in 2007, Sri Lanka won by 2 runs. And this is about Sri Lanka and England's face-off in the last 5 World Cup clashes. In 2011, Sri Lanka won by 10 wickets, defeating England. In 2015, again, Sri Lanka won by 9 wickets. And 2019, again, Sri Lanka had the upper hand by 20 runs. In 2023, in yesterday's game, Sri Lanka won by 8 wickets. Now, coming back to you, Vedam, what went wrong for Team England at Chinnaswamy? Because it's the smallest stadium where it's a high-scoring pitch, and yet we see a paltry total of just 150 odd runs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It is a small ground. In fact, about 15 yards beyond the boundary has been cut off for a walking track. It doesn't matter for the IPL where they have a cheerleaders, etc. in that 15 yards. But yes, high altitude. Bangalore is high altitude. Maybe only Dharamshala is more than that. So the ball really flies off the bat. And England, obviously, when they won the toss, they must have decided, let's up the net run rate and get a big total and maybe win this. But what made the difference yesterday was really the captaincy of Kusal Mendis. He was spot on. Whatever he touched turned to gold. His captaincy was brilliant. And, the bowling changes that he made, the field placement that he made, he had the right man at the right spot. And more than that, he was on the ball. That run out he affected to get rid of Rashid was pure magic. And I think Sri Lanka played like a team possessed. And I think they also realized that they have the drop on this English side. And they're not too worried about England's big guns. And the way they played with so much of poise and confidence. On the other hand, it looked like England were not just faltered. They just didn't have the confidence of the old English teams. And when you look at a champion side like England, I mean, they are the defending champions. It was so sad to see their attitude and approach to the game. And they just collapsed. And I think full marks. 156 on the Bangalore ground is incredibly low total, and the way Sri Lanka pulled it off was absolutely brilliant. And when they came into bat also, there was so much of poise, so much of confidence that they had. And I think right from maybe the 5th over or 6th over of the England innings, we knew that the match would go only one way.
Right now, Vedam, one last question from you. Joe Root's form as a batsman in the power play is hitting a slump, because In the last 11 or odd innings, he has been dismissed 10 times and by scoring just 50 runs in the power plays by playing even 131 deliveries. His average in the power play since 2020 has been just 5 runs and a strike rate of 38. What do you have to say about Joe Root and the other batsmen who followed, tumbling after him?
First and foremost, this England team seems like a dad's army. I don't think there's a single player in the English team who is below 30 years of age, and they might have done very well in 2019, but this is 2023. And it shows they have brought in Joe Root so that he can bowl a little bit of off spin and he can bat at number 3. But both are not working. Neither his off spin bowling nor his batting is working. So I think he is past that use by date, especially if they're going to play outside England. I don't think he's up to it. And England have to relook at their side. They need to bring in some youngsters. You can't have a team of 30 plus players and expect to do well, especially on a side like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a young side. They might have about 2 or 3 players who are in their 30s, but the rest of them are very young. And it's a team on the ascendance, Sri Lanka. Right. In the next 2 years, I expect Sri Lanka to be a really good team. But England, on the other hand, unless they bring in some new faces and new players, new young players.
Vedam, now the need of the hour for Team England is to bring in some young faces, young guns who can, bring back the English aggression back on the field and, probably help England. But it's too late for them to make some changes and call for replacements. But we hope that England at least bounces back from their slump because they're a defending champions title holder. And it is really sad to see them at the bottom half of the table. They have a few outings left, and we hope that they come back stronger. But Sri Lanka, on the other hand, looks very domitable in this current form. And in their next outings, they would look to bounce back stronger, and they would probably eye a spot in the semi-finals. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Vedam Jaishankar, with all those insights. Well, that's how it stands, viewers. Yesterday, England lost to Sri Lanka at the smallest stadium by scoring the lowest total, but Jos Buttler and his side are looking to bounce back in the game against India on Sunday. All eyes will be on whether Team India will let Jos Buttler get the upper hand, or will Hitman continue his 5-0 streak or convert it to 6-0 on Sunday. With that, we'll slip into a short break now. More news and updates on the other side. Do stay tuned.